Hello and welcome to Walk the Cinema podcast. This is part five of our Oscar highlights, and today we have Nomadland.
Yes, Nomadland stars Frances McDormand, and she is a widow, and she basically moves out of her hometown because she lost her job and became houseless, and starts
hmm
traveling America in her van.
Yeah, and that's kind of based on real facts, because this is an adapted screenplay from a book, and
Yeah,
they
it's
tell
called.
you the real facts at the beginning that
Yeah,
caused a lot of people to lose their job in that region and have to move out.
yeah. The book is called Nomadland: Surviving America in the 21st Century. And it is a non-fiction book, and it you know
hmm
details the lives of these people that just kind of travel around America in their
Yeah,
RVs or vans or whatever they have.
and the movie is about the Frances McDormand character, but it's really about being a nomad.
Yeah, it's about the way of life.
Yeah, and the cast itself is not real actors; they're actual nomads.
They play fictionalized versions of themselves,
Yeah, and
but they actually live that lifestyle.
yeah, and Frances McDormand herself lived that lifestyle for a little bit.
Yeah.
She did live in her trailer, and it did help feel more honest.
hmm
Not,
I
I wouldn't say method acting, but she did absorb the culture, which helped a lot.
Yeah. I think that so I guess let's talk about the plot line. We'll go through it. It starts off Frances's character, her name's Fern. She loses her job, and she takes a seasonal job at the Amazon fulfillment center to
hmm
kind of make money and pass the time, but she doesn't really know what she's gonna do after it. And she meets this lady named Linda May, and um, Linda kind of, I guess, introduces her to the lifestyle where it's like, oh, well, I move around. I go to this place during this season to work, and then I kind of move around this way, and it's a community, you know.
Yeah, there are scenes of the community itself where they kind of feel like
hmm
documentary style footage where they explain how stuff happens
hmm
and they explain how hard it is to live in a trailer and how some people do it because they like the lifestyle and some people do it because they don't have a choice.
Yeah, they have to, and I think the part that makes it feel like a documentary is because they use the real people. For
Yeah.
example, the second stop that uh, Frances goes to on, I guess, her kind of journey is she does go with Linda, or she does follow Linda to Arizona to meet Bob Wells, uh, and he Bob Wells himself is a real life person that has written books and has a YouTube channel about living the nomadic lifestyle in America.
Yeah. And a lot of the people involved in this didn't actually know Frances McDormand.
hmm
So there were real conversations.
hmm
They weren't scripted or fake in any way. It felt very real. But the whole
Yeah.
movie itself could have felt like it was just another movie exploiting poor people in order to win awards, but it really didn't.
No, I saw so many people talking about like that was their problem with the movie, about how it didn't feel genuine. Or it's like, oh, we have Frances McDormand who is a millionaire living in $1 million house pretending to be poor,
Yeah,
but it kind of frustrates me because I love the movie so much.
yeah. And you couldn't
That-
adapt a non-fictional book any better than using the real people that the book is about.
Yeah. And I
There,
think that
there's nothing fake about this movie, and both
no.
Chloe Zhao and Frances McDormand wanted to make this, which makes it
Yeah.
even more genuine.
Yeah. And I think like I've always kind of admired this type of lifestyle, I guess. But that doesn't mean that I want to give up my house and the luxuries that it provides uh, to
Mhm.
to 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 live that kind of lifestyle. But it does fill me with some sort of, I don't know, warmth that
Yeah, it
people
does feel
people
like a little like a warm hug. They're so nice to each other and they help each other.
yeah. And this movie is just everything that I wanted Into the Wild to be. I read Into the Wild in high school, and that one, the story's a little bit different, where it is a guy from privilege, but he
Yeah,
kind of he gives up everything. He symbolically burns his money, and decides that he's
he's kind of an asshole, really.
yeah. But
That's
it's
just
still,
my 2 cents.
I don't know. I always thought that it was, you know, this reminds me of it. And I remember when I watched Into the Wild for the first time being so disappointed because it doesn't capture the same like wonder that the book does, because the book is also a nonfiction. The author talks to the real people that met Alex, and they talk about like their way of life and how they keep in touch with the people that they meet in passing and stuff like that. But then the movie just like doesn't have that same type of
No.
energy. But this movie does, like Nomadland does, and I was so happy because I wasn't expecting it, and it just filled my heart with joy.
This movie, even though it's way more real, also has that dreamy feel, and I think it's the cinematography and the score combined to have like scenes that really feel like
Hmm.
very moody,
Yeah.
like a good moody, not a teenage moody.
Yeah, I agree. There's like moments that are more, I guess, angsty, I guess.
Yeah,
Especially I think they added the David character who was an actor.
yeah. There's two
Uh,
actors, which is the,
yeah.
I guess he's kind of a love interest, not really.
Yeah, it because it's more one-sided love interest. He takes an interest in Fern and asks to if she wants to go work with him at this restaurant job. And eventually his son comes and tells him that his wife is pregnant and he would like David to meet his grandchild. Um, and he does decide to go, but if Fern doesn't come with him, she goes to a different job.
But overall, the movie goes more with the flow than with a script, which
Yeah,
which mirrors the fact that it's about taking life for what it gives you, and
yeah,
you just go along with life and enjoy life
yeah,
that way instead of having a structure to it.
yeah. And I think like one of the characters that kind of emulates this the most is Swanky. Swanky got a cancer diagnosis and uh, basically was told like you can spend the rest of your life doing chemo, having kind of having a poorer quality of life, but you may live, or you could just go out and live your life and
Yeah,
you
and
know.
I think that was an unfiltered conversation. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
that was like for the movie.
Maybe not, but
I think that that person just started talking about their life and they kept it in.
I don't know because I do think Swanky was like a character in the movie because
There was someone that talked about their cancer, and I read that afterwards they were crying with Frances McDormand because they just started talking and they just went, and then once they were over, they realized that they just did all of that in front of a camera. But they were
I don't.
so in the moment with Francis because Francis was basically living with these people.
Yeah. I don't know if it was Swanky, but Swanky did have the cancer diagnosis, but they also like Swanky was a part of the the I guess scripted part because when there's a part where Frances Fern has a flat tire and she has to get Swanky to help her, and Swanky gives her a lecture on you have to be careful. Like you can't just you can't be out in the middle of nowhere with a flat tire and have no way to fix it, or call, no ability to call or maintain the car, since that's like her house.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe it was.
But regardless, everything was done with a lot of thought and care behind it.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
everyone came out looking as genuine and heartwarming as possible.
I agree. I thought everyone involved in this movie kind of felt like they had a genuine respect for the people that live the nomadic lifestyle,
Yeah.
regardless of the situation that they're in, whether they were doing it purposefully because that's just how they wanted to live, or if it was because of circumstances that they couldn't control.
Yeah, again, I do think it was not exploiting the underprivileged, like I saw a lot of people saying.
Yeah, I agree. I really didn't get that.
That's not my criticism about it. My criticism would be more how you avoided being political at all costs, because there's
Yeah.
a lot of huge companies like Amazon and Target involved in this, and they don't take any type of stance against capitalism or how to explore workers, and they don't care about you as a person. Like we heard all the horror stories about working at Amazon warehouses,
Yeah, that's for sure.
and also a lot of the people have illnesses and they have cancer and stuff, and there's no talk about how the health system doesn't help these type of people.
Yeah.
So it does avoid being political, and it feels deliberate to reach a wider audience and to obviously win more awards without offending anyone's side, because you never know who you're trying to get the votes for the Oscar nominations or the actual awards themselves.
Yeah, but I don't know if it was intentional or if it was just like they were like that's not the story that I want to tell.
That's true. It the movie's not an anti-capitalism movie. It is about being a nomad, so they don't really need to take any type of stand.
Yeah, that's kind of how I took it, but I do get why I think some people might hope that it would be more political than what it is.
It doesn't have to be political, though. There's so much kindness, and they're like comrades to each other. They seem so tight together that I don't think politics would have came between them, anyways.
Yeah. There's the speaking of the camaraderie, there's one of my favorite scenes was I think it seemed like an actual scene since it was um filmed at that desert community
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I
where
know which one you're talking
yeah, the lady's like talking about what type of bucket you should use to relieve
about.
yourself.
She has a small car, so she has a very small bucket.
Yeah. Which also I was like I respect people that do this because I could not.
Yeah, I couldn't, but a road trip across the U.S. sounds pretty good right now.
Yeah, it does.
I think it's the perfect movie for this year in the Oscar candidates because it brings that sense of freedom that we
Mhm.
didn't have all year because we're confined.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely felt that when watching it. I was like, man, I really wish I could be traveling or just seeing new things or just living life without having to.
Yeah, it's like your head gets away with this unrestrained freedom that once the movie's over, you realize you don't have.
Yeah. And I can't just hop in my car and
Yeah,
start driving.
so it might be the perfect movie to counter 2020.
It might. We'll definitely see.
Yeah. So do you want to talk about the nominations?
Yeah, this was nominated. Let me make sure I get
It
it
was
all
six
right.
things.
Yeah.
It was actress in a leading role, obviously, for Frances
Yes.
McDormand.
Yes.
It was the director,
Mm-hmm.
which hooray for female directors.
Yeah, I was very
It's
I
a
wasn't
very
surprised,
strong contender. No, I wasn't surprised.
but I'm very pleasantly it's a happy thing.
Yeah, and she also got the adapted screenplay because she did write the adapted
Hmm.
screenplay.
And it got cinematography, film editing, and best picture,
Yeah.
obviously.
She also edited this.
Yeah,
She's
crazy.
very hands-on with this project. This
I
this project felt very personal,
yeah, I
both
did.
for the director and the lead.
I agree. I definitely
And yeah,
agree.
the cinematography was really good. I would also throw in the score because I liked it. And as I said last episode, I don't like Minari's, so I just switched those out.
Yeah, I the score was it fit the movie very well, I would say.
Yeah, which was my problem with Minari's. It felt like it didn't. It was too dramatic for the movie.
Gotcha. Yeah, but for 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 Chloe, I think that she deserves this praise that she's getting.
Yes.
I thought that she created something that was felt personal to her, but also um like a love letter to the American people that live this way, you know?
And also, if we're gonna talk about best director, she directed masterpiece. I'm just gonna call it that now. She directed a masterpiece using people that are not actors.
Yeah, exactly. Everything felt.
You it can't get much harder for her to make a great movie, and she
Mhm.
managed to do it
I
in a
agree.
very sincere way.
Yeah. And I really like the story about how Chloe and Francis kind of like both had read the book before meeting each other and before the project really even started.
Yeah, from what I understand, Frances was aware of Chloe, and she brought up the book to her because Chloe has worked with non-actors before, and once that happened, Chloe was like, "Oh, I know this book. I've also been meaning to trying to make a movie about it." So it was just a happy coincidence. Maybe it was fate.
Yeah, but either way, it's a very satisfying story, I think.
Yeah,
And I think that as far as the screenplay goes,
that's
I've
probably the
always
weakest part.
it is a little weak. I think that there are times where I'm like, eh.
I
The,
wouldn't I wouldn't be upset if this got not if this got overlooked, I guess, for a screenplay.
yeah, I agree.
But it's not really about the screenplay, so
That's
it
how I
wouldn't
feel.
really matter.
That's how I feel. I don't think it is about the screenplay. I think it's more about the emotions and the
Yeah,
connections that are made.
for sure. I mean, the book itself is this is an adapted screenplay, but it's not. I guess the story is not directly from the book.
Yeah, because it's a
It's
non.
just yeah, it's a nonfiction book.
Yeah, and there's not, from my knowledge, it's not really like it doesn't really follow one specific
Yeah,
person. To my knowledge, I haven't read it, but
the movie kind of does that as well, where we do follow a lot of side characters, but it
mhm.
does have the main character because
Yeah,
it needs some structure.
yeah. And the cinematography, we love nature shots, just
Yeah,
desert shots.
You can't go wrong.
No.
For me. It was really the cinematography of the desert shots mixed with this dreamlike score that felt, I don't know, it really puts you in the mood to go out
I
and to
agree.
explore.
Yeah, it does.
I know you rate this quite highly.
I gave this a 10 out of 10. Like I said before, it's everything that I wanted Into the Wild to be. It's just evoked all of those emotions that I felt while reading the story of Alex in Into the Wild.
Hmm.
And, it was perfect in my eyes. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll agree with you that Into the Wild is not good. This is going to be controversial.
Yeah, I know. It's like kind of rated highly.
Yeah,
But
I not in my eyes.
no,
um,
I don't know if it's I'm gonna call some people out. I don't know if it's because people don't like haven't read the book and don't know how like good it is,
I
but
haven't read the book, and I know it's a terrible movie. It's not terrible, but it's
it's
underwhelming for sure.
yeah, exactly. It's so underwhelming. It's not necessarily bad. It's just gosh, the book is so good.
Mhm. So I agree with you there, but I didn't quite reach the 10. I stayed at the 9.
Mm. I think the 10 also just is, a personal preference. Just
No, obviously, there's
I
no objectiveness to this.
yeah. It's just brought back memories.
I could easily see someone hating this movie.
Oh, for sure. Because I think it is kind of one of those movies where it's maybe hard to
Yeah,
like or hard to relate to.
I don't know. To me, it's a new feel good movie that I
Yeah,
could just put on and relax to. There's
yeah,
no Since it's not heavily based on the story itself and it's more of a mood type thing where you just flow along with it. I think it's just so rewatchable for me. I've seen it multiple times.
yeah, I agree.
Okay, so this is past the halfway point, so we're almost there.
Yep. Only
We have
three more to go.
only 3 more to go before you hear our moronic and unbiased opinions on who should win and who's probably going to win, because those are two different things.
Yeah, that's true.
So, like, subscribe, comment, all those good things. We love to hear your thoughts. Like, we really do. This is not just, a YouTuber type thing.
Yeah, so leave us a comment if you want, and we'll definitely reply. And we'll see you the next episode.